Marco Jacobs Media.
Just give us a recap of today's performance.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit similar to our performance last week around a few areas of the game. I thought our first half performance was pretty solid, away from home in a very difficult place to play. Our accuracy was pretty good first half, and we played the game in the right areas of the field and had over a Lions share of the ball, which we looked quite comfortable in those moments. But second half, or certainly 10 minutes into the second half, we lost a little bit of momentum through some decisions around the set piece. And to be fair to the Stormers, they got stuck into our contact area a few times as well, which caused some turnovers. And I think we lost the momentum of the game. And obviously, they picked up a few penalties, which they went for goal, and then caught us with that third try, which sort of stretched the game out there at the end. So, but that was my summation of it, really. The positive thing from my perspective is they're all areas that we're in control of. We know that the scrum in particular is a strong area of our game, as is the maul, and I was a bit frustrated with some of the calls on our maul in the opposition 22. It's very unusual for you to take your own maul down going forward yourself. So I was pretty keen to get some feedback around what the officials saw there, so that we can be better, because obviously such a big part of the game, that attacking red zone.
Your breakdown was exceptional, I must say, and that must be a sort of a positive thing.
Yeah, look, I know it has to be exceptional. You come into one of the toughest nations in the world around the contact area. New Zealand and South Africa are renowned for their contact ferocity, and obviously the size of the Stormers players. They're technical, but they're also very, very physical. And I think, as I said to you, I think that was one of the areas why we were able to attack well in the first half. But also defensively, we did a really good job there around the breakdown in terms of stifling the speed of the Stormers' ball that they thrive on. But of course, there was just those little patches where we didn't quite execute on either side of the ball, and good teams take advantage of that.
Just Mark, overall your tour, it's 2 games, obviously 2 defeats, but you've got to be proud of the fight. I mean, went to Loftus last week, we actually pushed the Bulls quite far. And this week, the first half you were in it, second half sort of out of, but you must be happy with the fight and the grit you guys showed in this last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. I'll take that on behalf of the team. Yeah, the fight of the players it's always something we say is the price of entry, but not everybody pays the price, But we've got a group of individuals that really care about each other. They work for each other, and often you see that coming out in the effort side of the game, the defensive side of the game. And I think today was a great example of the work the players have been doing with Justin as the defence coach. And as you can see, they enjoy attacking with the ball as well when we've got it on the other side. So so I think we've got a great group of men there that are hurting to come to South Africa and be disappointed in a huddle that you haven't possibly won 2 games. I think if the games were 65 minutes long, we would have quite arguably could have won the games. So that's real growth for us. We have come to South Africa and won before, but it's probably the best in terms of consistency we've had over the 2 games. Often we've won a game and then had a bit of a blowout in the other one. I think these 2 games we've been very consistent in both. We've been right in there, and the opposition teams have had to work right up to the 80th minute.
Can I just ask you one last one? Daniel Kasenda, he's a South African, obviously Congolese born, but South African. Just your take on him so far. He's been outstanding, but just for you guys, for getting a South African, outside.
Well, he's Welsh now, so we've decided now. He's been terrific since coming in, first and foremost, partway through the season, and then obviously this season he's been with us for the whole of pre-season, and he's moved his wife and he over. They're living now in Swansea area, which they I think they're loving, apart from the wet weather. But he's been great. You can see he's so good in the air. Even against South African teams, which is superb in the air, he's still dominant, and his finishing abilities, qualities, he's been very strong defensively. We just love having him, and the players love him, and he's quite a character. So we're looking forward to the season that Dan's got ahead of him.
Mark, can I ask you this whole thing about the restructure of Welsh football? Welsh rugby. Is it a bright or a dark cloud over your head? How's it impacted on you guys?
What time does this place close up? We might be locked in. Look, it's The restructure is something that's going on in the background, and obviously now and again it comes to the foreground, and obviously it is tough for the players to have that in the background, but I can only speak from my own players, and they've done a terrific job of compartmentalising that and thinking about it when they need to, but also focusing on rugby when they don't. I think it's great that Welsh Rugby's having a really good look under the stones and really turning things over and having a good look at it, because I think it's easy to get complacent, and I think there's definitely areas in Welsh Rugby where things and people and teams have got complacent, and when you win in Grand Slams and Six Nations titles like Wales have done for a long time over the last 20 years, sometimes you don't quite see what's in front of you, and I'm just pleased that there's been a really good, thorough exploration around the whole game, not just the regional level. They're looking at the international level, the pathway, and I'm excited about what will come out from the review, if I'm honest with you. And everybody's had a good input, so hopefully there's some really good food for thought there. And I'm very, very optimistic around what will come out of it.
Can I ask you a question about your approach at altitude? I saw that you were in Stellenbosch and you presumably went up 1 or 2 days ahead to Pretoria.
Yeah.
Does that work? Did it work this time?
Well, I felt okay walking up to the coach's box. I certainly didn't feel too out of breath at my ripe old age. But I think the feedback from the players is, and we've played at the Lions a few times, either in the URC or Europe, and we've pretty much done the same thing most of the time in terms of staying up there for 4 or 5 days. We haven't camped there for the 2 weeks and flown out of there. And I've got to be honest with you, the performances have shown that there's not a lot of difference in it based on the outcome of the games. The players obviously feel the altitude when they're there, but I can't say that they've said that they feel one particular approach has felt better than the others. We've done it different ways for different reasons. Sometimes it's logistical, not just because of the altitude. And I personally found this trip excellent in terms of basing ourselves in Stellenbosch and jetting up there for a day and a half, 2 days. Only because the preparation's been really good. SAS, where we've been staying, has got great facilities. The town itself is fantastic, in terms of players getting out and being able to just switch off from rugby at certain times, and the people are great in the town. So that's why we've enjoyed being there. But we've also had great time when we stayed up at the Mondi Casino. So, but obviously you've got more bus trips to get to training grounds, etc. So, we don't use the altitude or anything like that as any sort of excuse. It's part of rugby in the URC now with the South African teams, and we actually enjoy playing. So, no issues from our end.
You've mentioned that it's tough playing in South Africa, but you've had the Stormers' number for a couple of seasons. You would have been confident coming into this game, especially looking at that first half.
Yeah, we don't take confidence maybe from the fact we've won the previous games, because every game is individual in itself. The different teams, different coaches, different weather, So, but obviously you get confidence from what you do a lot of the time, and a lot of our players have been inside the stadium and tasted victory. But they also know they have to work pretty hard for it, both last year at home and obviously the year before when we won here. And you can see today that there's not much between the two teams. Very, very close. Small margins, some high quality moments, from both teams to score, and the odd decision here and there. So there's not much in it. Our objective is to try and get ourselves into the top 8 at the end of the year and give ourselves the opportunity to either host a team from South Africa or have to come to South Africa. We just, as a Welsh team that's growing and developing and a young squad, we just want to be able to come to these places and be in with a shot. And I think the last 2 weeks, the players need to take a lot of confidence from coming to a tough place like South Africa, #1 nation in the world for rugby at the moment and for a number of years. And that doesn't fall lightly on us, and we know that we've got some growth and some improvement in us, and we're excited about the rest of the season.
Mark, you mentioned momentum a bit earlier and how that swung kind of in the second half. In the first half, it felt for large parts, you had the momentum on your side. Were you perhaps a bit disappointed that you didn't capitalise more when you had the momentum on your side?
Yes, I am, to be honest with you, and I think there was some both halves actually. I even thought when it was sort of 11-point game, we had those couple of maul entries and there we got done for going off our feet and collapsing the maul ourselves. I feel really frustrated about that, having the footage in front of me, and Look, the officials last week did a great job, and the guys this week out in the middle there, it's a tough thing to do to referee a game, and it is hard. You can't see everything all the time, but obviously you're hoping for a bit of support and help from other people with different views and angles, and I do feel there that had we executed those scenarios which were pretty promising mauls going forward, the game could have looked very different because, as you said, you then have the momentum, you're at the right end of the field, and there's a little bit of pressure on the home team to win, and maybe some of those demons from years gone by start to appear, but unfortunately it wasn't to be. We've got plenty that we can work on in our own game without being too critical of other people, and that's what our focus will be. But there's definitely some moments and some learnings for us as a young team, as I said, around how we recognise the loss of momentum and also how we get it back, and we did talk around that this week and have done some work on it, and I definitely saw some improvement in it. So we've definitely gone in the right direction, and that's a real positive.
Mark, just a follow up on what you said earlier. On the bigger Welsh canvas, paint us the Ospreys picture. What do you see? How do you see Ospreys in this bigger Welsh canvas?
Oh, I see it as a cornerstone of the Welsh rugby moving forward. If you look at the region, and I don't know how much you know about the region, but if you look at the club sides, the junior sides that it represents, the semi-professional teams, and then obviously the pro team, the regional team itself, if you look at the area that the team represents, the quality of the internationals that have come through our region, the British Lions that we've produced more than any other team in Wales, and obviously with us moving to our new stadium as well next year, the future is really bright for the Ospreys, and what we hope that will support us moving forward is some improvements around the pathway, producing more players to a better level coming into our academy, so that we can make that a real finish in school for the young Welsh talent, because there's lots of other things in Wales and Great Britain that's an attraction for youngsters these days. There's so many more sports available to them. Football's a big attraction in Swansea area itself. They're a championship team, been in the Premiership, so we do lose a lot of athletes and supporters to that side of the game. So what we're trying to do is keep rugby in the forefront of people's minds, keep playing the game that people love to come and pay to watch, and actually youngsters want to play. So I see it as I know it's a long-winded answer, but I see us as a real. It's been a cornerstone, and I see us being one moving forward in Welsh rugby as well.
Yeah, the way I'm asking it is, I was there in '94 when it was still the clubs and stuff. So I know the tradition of the region in terms of. Do you think it's lost that, or has it still got that passion for the game?
Oh no, it's still got the passion for it. It looks a little bit different badge on the shirts than perhaps we've seen in the past. Different players, obviously, because of age. But you look at our squad; they're all born and bred, most of them. We mentioned Dan Cassandi there. We've got the odd person that we welcome in from outside that we think will add to the diversity of our group, but it's all underpinned with the local lads who have grown up looking at an Ospreys badge, going, I want to play for that team, and the side today is full of them, and it's a real pleasure for me as the coach to see the players living their dream, playing for their region, and you can see by the attitude of the players at the end there, quite easily there to have given up the bonus point to the Stormers there, but that's how strong they feel about caring for their teammate. And to answer your question around the passion for the region, I think it's as strong as ever. It just looks a little bit different than it did in '94, I expect. Like I do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank you.